What's up, YouTube family? Back at you like I'm mad at you. I won't ever turn my back on you. This video, family, we're going to get straight to it. Hebrews 5, chapter 5, 12 and 14 states that milk is for infants, unskilled in the word of righteousness, while solid food, meat, belongs to the mature who have trained their senses to discern good and evil. Paul tells the Corinthians he had to feed them milk because they were not ready for the meat, still acting as infants in Christ. And then Peter 2:2 encourages craving pure spiritual milk to grow, acknowledging while milk is essential for infants. The goal is to move towards spiritual maturity, right? So for any of you who may not feel like you're ready for this, etc., I'm not judging, no harm, no foul. I think it's steps and levels to everything, and that you should start out where you are, right? And another translation, it said the meat was for full age adults, right? So I want you to know I'm not against nobody's religion. I'm not against no Muslims, no Christians, no atheists, no none of that stuff. I have loved ones, people I rock with in all these different sections, right? In all these different religions or whatever you call it. I have myself, you know what I'm saying, have a lot of my belief system and my journey started with the Bible and Christianity, right? When it came to believing in God and all that. But I believe these are different stepping stones that are not necessarily here for me to abolish it, right? Christ said he came to fulfill your half full cup, not to, you know what I'm saying, to crash your course, but to fulfill it, right? So for those of you who may not be ready, you know what I'm saying, you don't want that, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I respect that. So, but for those of you who may be still in your, you know, you go to church on Sundays, etc., but you want more out of it. You want to know what's the deeper understandings and things like that when it comes to the Bible or God and the Creator and so forth. I truly believe that Christ is foundational to it all. When you understand that this is actually in the Bible too. Say anybody that think they know anything, if they deny Christ, they don't know nothing. Because if you realize every religion, everywhere you go around the world, they all acknowledge Christ because they know what it is on a mature level. They understand what Christ represents on a mature level. So how can you think you know anything? I'm talking about Islam, Judaism, even in some other religions that, you know, that don't say Christ, right? Like Egyptology, so many others, they all got a depiction of the same kind of scenario when it comes to a truth, you know, the light or the truth, okay? The spirit of truth, right? And one who had come or who brought the truth forth, right? In love. So that what I be trying to share with y'all, man, is that this the Bible is not what people think it is. They made something, they turned it into other things. It's not a ritual. Everybody are participating in spiritual things on a regular basis. You get off this YouTube right now, go smoke a blunt and turn your music on, rap music, whatever. You're doing something that's very spiritual. Anything dealing with energy is spiritual, family. Trust me. When you conversating back and forth with somebody, dialoguing, all of that is spiritual. So that's what I be really wanting to bring forth for you to realize. And I feel like this is what the teachings of Christ was about, freeing you from misunderstanding, deception, breaking the chains, letting you know that you are limitless. You know what I'm saying? Anything, you know, that wants to box you in is trying to limit you. And I truly believe that Christ's teachings was all about breaking the chains off your mind, off your belief system, out your heart, off your heart, etc., your spirit. I believe that's what the teaching was all about. It was not merely about just a man who existed. Many out there believe that all they have to do is believe that this man existed and they are saved or something like that. There's no phenomenon in just merely believing a man existed. Even you ladies, out of all people, would know that it's more about just a man's existence, but about what he brings, about what that man carries. It is way bigger than Christ just or the Lord or Yeshua or Jesus and all that just existing. It's about what he taught. It's about what he was teaching. It's about what the light is showing you. Okay? So I just want y'all to know I ain't got nothing against that. I want y'all to don't take my take on things as trying to limit you in no way either, because all things are possible for you. This is what it's all about. All things are possible for you. You are limitless, right? And so, for those of you who are ready to go into this, I want you to see this, right? As you know, it talks about he who has an ear. We talked about what that is in the other video, all in the Bible. He who has an ear, right? Talking about the pineal gland, your mental eye, right? He said, he whose body, the scriptures say, he whose eye be single, his whole body be full of light, right? In the same way, look at the question mark, right? You've all seen the question mark, right? What do you see on the inside of the question mark? It is an ear, clearly, right? It's an ear because why? Because answered questions are for ears to hear, that can hear. So the disciples who sat at the Lord's feet asking all those questions and having an ear to hear him answer, right? So I'm moving around a little bit in this video because I got a few things I want to show y'all before I wrap this up, right? And that being, you know what I'm saying? Do not fear. You know what I'm saying? Do not fear is in the scriptures is referencing of many things to not fear, obviously, right? But sometimes it's talking about don't fear itself, because they had created the wicked in high places, somehow created the system to keep you away from the very truth that belongs to you. But you fear the truth. So it's not just talking about, sometimes many fear the truth is what I'm trying to say. And sometimes that do not fear is applied to the truth itself. You know what I'm saying? It's applied to the truth itself, family. You know what I mean? So because the way they created in the mind, they created fear around the things that Christ told you, go out, test everything, keep hold of that what is good. Right? It told you go out, get knowledge, get wisdom. Told you to do that. Go out there. All that get understanding. But you fear, if you fear doing that, if you fear the truth, right? And so forth, and different things like that, which Christ himself was told to have been studied so many different things. They say he studied so many different, like he was in the temples, the synagogues over here. He studied this, he studied that. You see what I'm saying? Don't fear. You know what I mean? Because we finna go there. But I want you to know it's nothing to fear. So you can do all things and you are limitless. So now I have to say that because that's what I'm all about. I'm just here to show you that to be a vessel as my chains being broken to help that your chains may be broken, right? And they are broken, right? So let's start out real quick with a few things, family. Look at this. This is, you're gonna have to notice why I've showed you the question mark, that there's no coincidence in certain things, right? Like y'all know the thing about live, right? Backwards is evil. Lived backwards is devil, right? Love backwards is pronounced as evil. Don't just, it is about spelling a lot of times, but you have to be on point when it comes to pronunciation as well, right? Like it is to denounce something, you have to realize what it means to pronounce something else. So, something as well. So now you have love backwards is pronounced as evil. God backwards is dog, right? This right here ain't no coinky dink at all. Ain't no coincidence. Just like I was telling y'all about how we somehow significantly sport telling people you ain't this, you ain't that, in our music, everything. You can't do this, you ain't that, you ain't me, you ain't, y'all ain't that. Nobody can't do this. We the biggest, right? Y'all the smallest. We do it for sport. Right? So that's very significant how the God and the devil, and just like in Job's situation, was in that same space where, very significant. But anywho, um, the very place that God is, the very dwelling of God, right? In that same space, you find the opposition of good, right? So now, look at that. This is a depiction of that, the lack of one. If you lack life, I mean, we talked about that life, that breath of life, right? If you lack life, by default, there's evil, right? If you lack love, by default, there's evil. We all know those situations and people and scenarios where if it was lacking or they were lacking love, what that produces sometimes, right? We all saw that before, right? Where the lack of love is, you can easily find evil, right? And in the same way, very significantly, getting around to the point, because we finna get to the meat of this video. You do not recognize the God in you. Instead, you recognize the dog in you. See, so you believe in begging, getting on your knees and begging and all that kind of stuff. Right? I don't think every form of, getting on the knees in prayer is begging or bad or something like that. But I'm talking about the doctrines that teach you that, or that kind of like train you, sometimes to just be a beggar, right? This comes from the lack of one thing. By default, you have the other. So how coincidentally is that, right? And I'm telling you how they twisted it so they played a trick on you so marvelous for those caught up in the religious system that they literally twist it is what I'm showing you. They are twisting things the other way around, right? Just like it is no coincidence how men and women call each other dogs. Talking about God backwards. We call each other dogs. Women call men dogs, say men are dogs, right? And then men call women the B word, which means female dogs. And then females call each other the B word, essentially calling each other dogs. Whether they're intending to do that or mean this, that in that mean it in that way or not. Then you got some men out there calling each other the B word now, right? So very significant that we just go around calling each other dogs. You see what I'm saying? Even if just for fun or swagger. Right? So again, when you lack one thing by default, you find yourself in the other. Right? So very significant. So now with that, I want to show you something real quick, fam. I gotta try to take this out before it won't cut off on me again, because it cut off on me earlier. Now watch this, fam. I want to show y'all something that just gets to this point. Has a lot to do with my point. Now watch this. I can't turn it. I'm gonna have to just now watch this, fam. This dog is growling at itself in the mirror. So, what you seeing, family? What you seeing is when it comes to seeing what you really are. We talk about the dog and God backwards, right? What you seeing is that's why I said do not fear. You seeing once when it's time to look at your image. You see these dogs, and they showed these videos for all kind of different animals. Some of y'all have seen the bear and all of that, right? All kind of animals, the jaguar, the leopards. When they see themselves, some of them fear it. Some of them go to attack it, right? Because they don't realize that that's them. They're looking in the mirror, right? And do not realize that that's their image, right? Just like you're made in the image of the Creator, that would mean that the Creator is also your image. They don't realize those dogs, you just saw it. One of them was fearful. One of them wanted to attack it. One of them growling at it, right? They don't realize their own image. And this happens, family, a lot when it comes to trying to get people to see who they are. When it comes to trying to get people to recognize what and who they are, to recognize their own image, right? That's why I say don't fear the. It's not just about the devil. Don't fear the truth. Don't fear the truth, right? Don't fear growth. You see that? And so I thought that was very significant. Do you know a horse? Before you can ride a horse, they have to break the horse first, right? They literally got a way of tying them to, I don't know what that strap rope like thing is. It's like tying them to a pole. Because these horses are wild. You just can't go jump on a horse, right? When they were free initially. You just can't go jump on a horse like that, right? So what they do is they have to break a horse first, and essentially breaking its spirit. And they tie him to like a pole in some situations, right? And the horse go trying to get away, and it runs around, and they let it do it so much to the horse just give in. You see the horse is kind of looking down, like they break his spirit first before they can ride it. Now this is for motivational purposes only, family. Encouraging and motivational purposes only. Maybe different ways to do it, family. But overall, they have to break that horse spirit almost before they can ride it. Just talks about what we talk about in the other video about your heart, right? And life is a movie for real, and not, allowing your heart to be broken, your spirit. Because it's easy to ride you once you're broken. So we dealing with a people that have been broken in so many ways, especially, in certain generations in time, right? So many ways to the point you're afraid of your own image. You fear your own image when you finally are given a mirror to look at it, right? Or you attack it, right? How coincidentally though, family? I keep telling y'all these things are spirit. When we talk about a spiritual body, it's different levels to it, right? I'm not telling you that there is no God and no Christ. No, yes, these things are real. What I'm telling you is where they really are and how they really operate and how they function on earth, as it is in heaven, right? And so, you ever seen this? How many of y'all have seen those little bitty birds? Sometimes it could be about 50 of them, maybe 100. I just seen big packs, little bird, and they just be doing this in the sky, all in sync. And I'm talking about they doing like dang the tricks, right, with their little movement. And they all just be in sync together, just like this. You ever see that? One body, one spirit. You think that the lead bird is saying left, right, left? No, 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 no. No, they just be in sync in a different kind of way, family. It's about 100 birds or 50 little birds, but they all just move in sync, like almost like a fish. If you pay attention to them, they just be one body, family. 50 birds, one body. This is what you're dealing with leading up to my point when you're dealing with the spirit of Christ and the spirit of the Antichrist, right? This has everything to do with your faith, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about your life now and moving forward, family. And even what you think you see in the world around you, right? And then for many of you, I'm sure you already bear witness to how limited the education system is up into college until you're able to choose what you want to go study for yourself at that point. And even then, it's still systematic. But overall, at least from preschool up until graduating out of high school, I'm pretty sure you all are aware how limited that education was pertaining to the things that matter now that you've become an adult. Not everything, right? Of course, you could say reading and writing and all that type of stuff has helped you, but we probably should learn financial literacy, right? And things like that. Some of you may say, oh, you can learn that in college. Well, you're already a young adult by the time you're going to college. It's a lot of things that what I'm saying is that should be something like that should open your mind to knowing that you're being limited in the educational system, even religiously, just like you were in the school districts, right? In the educational system, as far as the false histories and all of that. So I want to say that because I'm about to go into something then that's going to get around to the meat of this video, family. It's chess, not checkers, family. Do you realize in chess, and you familiar with chess, the chess is always almost about misleading the opponent player, right? It's always about making you think I'm finna do one thing, knowing I'm finna do something totally different. Moving something over here when all the time I'm going over there. This is what you're dealing with, family. When you're afraid to see your own image, right? It's chess, not checkers. See what I'm saying? It's not about hopping over this one and hopping over that one and you hop over me now and I hop over. No. We talking about a system that's playing for checkmate. They are playing for checkmate. So the reason why I talk about the spiritual body in the dog analogy, how we call each other dogs just for fun and for swagger. It's coincidental because I'm saying that loosely and joking because I don't believe in coincidences. In other words, we are God backwards is dog, and significantly, that's a sport for us. When I talk about checkmate, right? When that king is over, that's checkmate. So now let's talk about Christ's teachings, family. Basic, real quick, I'm finna get through it. Christ is not about the man himself, but what he carries. Again, we spoke about that. The man taught that you are limitless. The man taught that you can do all things. The man taught that all things are possible. The man taught these things. The man came to break the chains. His whole thing of healing the blind, healing the sick and the blind and all that is to let them know that they are all capable that they are free, to free them, to break the chains. This is this nutshell, layman's term. God is not the author of confusion, truth. Don't get caught up in all that ritualistic stuff. That's what I'm talking about, family. It's really fundamentally about freeing you. He who the Son sets free is free indeed. To free you, to liberate you, to empower you and let you, and to draw you nearer to your power, to make you aware of your power, your abilities. Right? The power is invested in you. Now God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can even think or ask, according to the power that is invested in you. Said according to the power that is invested in us in that particular scripture. When you understand what it means that only God can change someone, or only God can remove a veil and all that, this deals with that man or woman happening in with them in the Spirit of God. They have to make up their mind. It has to be something within them. The king dwells in his kingdom. Yes, he's outside of us as well, because it's a spirit. Again, why I gave you the analogy of the birds. It's 50 birds, but it's one body. See what I'm saying? So what am I saying? Christ's teaching was simply about all that you are, all that God is in you, that all that you are, all that you're capable of, right? That you're being tricked, that you're being deceived, that they took, he's constantly talking about how they took his teachings and twisted it. Or they took the truth and twisted it. That they took what is for you, and they made it for them, and made you the slave in your own mind. Right? And so the Antichrist, and that's a spirit. Now we're talking about now after the man, right? Or yeah, the man that was killed, right? Or crucified, however you want to put it, right? That had mastered, right? God in him, right? And that he left, transitioned in the body. His spirit remained, representing this what is the spirit of truth, right? You may know the one and true God who has sent me first. He's the spirit of truth, came in love, because he's talking about the God of truth, right? Because when you love, you honest, right? So he said, you're truthful, right? He said, so the Antichrist is here, pardon me, the Antichrist, that's the spirit of truth, is all about freeing you, making you whole, letting you know the reason why you're broken and you're going through this, and you this happened and you experienced that, and you seeing life like this, and you believe in life. He's saying it's all because you've been deceived about what's going on and what you are and whose you are. Not who you are, but whose you are. Meaning whose body. See what I'm saying? This is what Christ is all about. The Antichrist spirit, and I'm going to just take some scriptures that Christ taught and say them backwards. The Antichrist spirit is all about saying all things are not possible. You do not have any power. You cannot do anything. You cannot make any storms calm. You cannot do, that's the Antichrist spirit. It's a body, just like those birds. Y'all seen them? It'd be about 50, 70 of them, just like they in sync. One spirit, a body, 50 birds, one's body, one spirit. This Antichrist spirit is that. It is that spirit. So when we talk about calling each other dogs and stuff, that is Antichrist spirit. Right? When you talk about anything, any system or organization, that's why I speak on religion. It's the reason why Jesus spoke on it in the Bible. But it's not just religious people that do this. You can be sitting on the corner with a man drinking a beer and he can have Antichrist spirit on him. just by telling you about what life is all about, and it not be true, and it not be so. Because it may just be limited to his experience. So when it says meet many antichrists, they come in many forms. One spirit. Don't mean people intentionally, knowingly know what they are doing, right? Christ says some didn't know not what they do. But the Antichrist spirit is anything that goes against what Christ taught. It's not a religious thing or a ritual. It's simply telling you you're more than you know. If he told you in Ephesians 3:20 that God can do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can even think or imagine, family, this is like the stuff that we see in the movies kind of stuff, kind of power, kind of capability. Let alone being just rich or something like that. So the Antichrist spirit is simply, Christ is about telling you all that what you can do, all that what you know, no matter what you go through, you got power over it. No matter who you're facing, looking at David and considering David and Goliath, no matter how big your enemy is, or the opposition, or etc. No matter how big your situation is, no matter what you're dealing with, you got power over it. You can slay the giant, right? His teachings is what he is about. So if you're going to believe in Christ, then you must know to believe in what he taught, not just a man that existed, but what he carried. So now he broke it. He got into all of these things, and then the Antichrist. Remember, the parable of the sower. A good sower sowed. The good sower sowed, and when he walked away, as the workman slept, the evildoer came and sowed. Because if the workmen were asleep and they were not out putting out the light, putting out the truth, then that makes room for the, what do they say, the idle mind is a devil workshop. That makes room for the evildoer to come plant lies and deception, because they don't know no better. Because the workmen are asleep. The light of the world. Scriptures say, you are the light of the world. So if that light is dimmed or dormant or off, then that makes room for them to come in. What happens in a place where the lights be out a long time? Bugs get to coming in, all kind of stuff. Sometimes, depending on, you know what I'm talking about. Lights be out too long, you make way for things to. So what I'm saying to you is, as the workman slept, the evildoer came and sold. So the Antichrist sold the false doctrines. And again, these false doctrines don't just have to bear or be with a religious person of any. They don't have to be a Muslim or a Christian or this, that. They can just be just regular people sending their kids off. Regular so-called adults, grown folks rather, misleading their relatives. Because they've concluded life to their own experiences. Right? So, in a nutshell, y'all get that. The Christ spirit is not a ritual, religious thing, or ritual, or none of that at all. It is simply about you being free, being able to do all things. That is power in your agreement, power in love, direction and knowledge, power and wisdom, all these things. Bible say wisdom is worth more than rubies and gold and all that. It's more precious than rubies and gold and all that. You see what I'm saying? It's very significant that you realize the teachings of Christ and realize the spirit of Christ, what the spirit of Christ is all about, and the Antichrist is anything that teaches against that encourages against that. Period. I don't care if it's your mama, the deacon, the president, anything that teaches against that. Christ came to reveal this to you. Because a light is also a revealing instrument, right? So that's very significant, family. It's very significant because when you think about Aladdin, you know what I'm saying, was just he made to think because of his conditions that he was born in, that he grew up in, as a young child that he was just like a little straggler dog or something, a stray dog in the neighborhood, right? See, he had, if you realize towards the end of the movie, when you watched that cartoon back then, he found there was a king in him. It was more to him. And it was beyond just the genie and all that, which meant that was telling him, just ask me whatever you want. It's a lot to be said about that. We pertaining to the Christ and what he's saying. Ask anything in my name, it shall be given to you, right? In love, because in love is in your heart, right? So, and that has to do with being righteous, right? The heart. So, we ask anything, he was given to, but even beyond all of that, after the story went on and he went on through what he went through, he found out, and the people loved him for what was really in him. It was no longer about what the genie did. It was no longer about how he got there and how he got his crown and all that and became a king. They had learned to love and respect what was truly in Aladdin. So that's very significant, family. Very significant. You have to be mindful of where, and let me just say this real quick. I'm here to tell you that many of you out there are the Antichrist that you're teaching. Yes. Yes. In the words of Denzel on Training Day, I'm putting cases on all you. I'm just joking. Many of us have been the Antichrist, family. In our swagger, in our misleading because of our own experiences. In our conclusions because of our own personal experiences. We have been the people that's in these religious sectors that's trying to box people in and say here and no further. Yeah, with your false doctrines. You are the Antichrist that you're preaching about, that you're teaching about, that you're reading about. You are the many Antichrists. You're preaching against what you're preaching against what Jesus taught. Yeah. See, many of you, we're going to make another video about this when he talked about the guy was talking about the rich man getting into heaven and all that, and Jesus, they was trying to figure out how can they be saved and all that, and Jesus said, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. We're going to make another video about how, what the actual mechanics behind what he's saying right there. Because that's another story dealing with the maritime law, the admiralty law as well, dealing with the law of the sea. Yeah. And who you are outside of your government name. Yes. So anywho, this is very significant. This is very significant. If you notice anything that they accomplished in the Bible, family, no God came out the sky and they did it. They did it with God in them. Yes, it wasn't a God on the side, like a shadow that was helping them. It was God in them that was helping them. Around you, about you, before you, and for you. So it's so many different ways that this happens. So the Bible say that God can turn the hearts of kings. See what I'm saying? He is in people, like the temple. So when you go to court, you wonder how you get off on that situation, because that spirit was able to get in that judge. Things like that. But it is a spirit. But it operates in us. But not just me, obviously, outside of me as well. So in us, right? In the world, right? Everything that has life in it, right? So that's very significant, because now I want you to realize that, because, you know what I'm saying, like Aladdin, you know what I'm saying, I what do you say, a hood rat, street rat, I don't buy that. I don't, family. I don't. And I hope you don't either. And I'm doing this to cultivate. So when I get back to the videos, just empowering you to when it comes to being abundant or the light and manifesting the light or all those kind of things, right? Dealing with certain things energetically and all that, then you know that is where it's coming from, right? You'll know for those of you who still want to hold on to something else that's somewhere else. Although Spirit of God is everywhere, it's right omnipresent. But I'm talking about not talking is this is not based on a man from the past. It's not this is beyond a man from the past, is what I'm telling you. Your belief system is not your prayers and all those things is not predicated upon somebody somewhere, a person somewhere in the spiritual realm thinking whether they want to answer you or not. I'm trying to tell you that when he said, Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, and all those type of things, I'm trying to help you to realize how to be sure that your prayers will be answered. To be sure that what you want, you can have it, and you will have it, and you already have it. To be sure of what you're doing. This is the difference between the milk and the meat. Children want the parents to take care of everything. They want the parent or the elders, the adults, or the grown folks to think for them. When they get to of age and become mature adults, they have to learn to do things for themselves, son. That's the milk and the meat. But this is huge because this whole God thing, the spirit thing is real. It's just not as it's been painted to be and narrated in a way that it's been narrated to be. And so be mindful what the difference is when it comes to turning to God and turning to the system in the way you've been educated to do things. It's like the difference between going to Google and YouTube. YouTube. For example, many of you know, you go to YouTube, you go to Google and say, man, my air conditioner in my car broke, right? It might give you a list of mechanics to go to, right? And I'm not saying Google don't have nothing good, right? They the same ownership, if I ain't mistaken, owns Google and YouTube. But when they talk about where God is, who God is, where God is, what God is, and all of that. Google might tell you, yeah, you gotta hit it. They're gonna give you a list of mechanic shops and all this type of stuff, and maybe how much it costs to get a new air conditioner. But if you go to YouTube, right, there may be a regular man or woman on there telling you, yeah, that same thing happened to me. All you gotta do is hit this button, turn the thing off, put your foot on the brake, start the car back up. Boom, it works. This is what it means in Christ, what he's teaching when he says all things are possible in Christ, in truth, in love, family. So when you know where God at, when you know where his kingdom at, you know the difference between running to Google for everything and running to God. And I'm not saying YouTube is God, obviously, family. I'm just giving you, painting a picture for you that I hope you putting the dots together for yourself. Yeah, it's like the difference between Google and YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Because the difference between Google and YouTube is you got actual people, some people that may only have 5 views, right, on their channel that can show you how to save $100 when Google was just finna send you to the dealership or something like that. And they're gonna show you how to do it yourself real quick. See the difference? You see where God is, right? So I think that's very significant, fam. Very significant. And so, real quick, you got to think on these kind of things. Now, I want to touch on when we talk about, I ain't going to make no big deal out of the Antichrist thing, but that's not a joke, family. The many Antichrist deals with the spirit of Antichrist, with the false doctrines and lies that come through the religious sectors, organizations, and all kind of organizations, the street gangs, everybody else that told us what life was taught and told us what life was about, even if it was in the home. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Anybody that told you you were limited and this is life. And, when you talk about frequency being frequency deals with a state of awareness. Remember, your frequency becomes your very spirit, and that becomes what you are, right? Frequency deals with a state of awareness. Remember, we are conscious beings, family. So when you aware, in a state of awareness, it's talking about the state of being that you're aware of being in and so forth, right? It deals with the state of awareness dealing with what you consciously are aware of, and especially aware of being, your state of being and so forth. That's why in the hood, you know what I'm saying, everybody kind of on the same frequency, right? Same kind of spirit. You get the same thing. Different bodies, one spirit, right? Or you know what I mean? One body, one spirit, different individuals. Because somebody, you thinking, oh man, it's hard. The people don't want to give us no job. We ain't gonna make no real money. Yada yada yada. We gotta do what we gotta do out here. Whatever we can do, and everybody out there in that same kind of swivel. Like that's what it is. Because they're in the same state of awareness as far as what they are aware of being. Survival, surviving, and so forth. See what I'm saying? So they all doing the same things. Whatever they can, however they can, you know what I mean? When they can, etc. Because they're in that state of being. Until somebody looks up and sees somebody else that actually got rich doing something else. And then now they're aware of something. Then they go off and say, oh no, I can do this now. That's how some make it out, right? Frequency, spirit, by being aware of something else. So it's a lot of times that be like, that's what it means. Like the spirit of God then came and could led somebody up out of there. Because it'd be somebody else that got the spirit of God, of good on them, right? That was like, they had faith. They saw something else. They like, man, yeah, I own this. I'm doing that. I'm a rapper, whatever the case may be. Something else outside of being in the hood or on the block. And it may be something that they was able to register as something that they were also capable of accomplishing, right? So faith. That's what all that matters is that faith, family. So Jesus said he came to set the world on fire. I need to really read this to y'all in the Bible so y'all can hear. But anywho, when you talk about, this is the part where if you want to, for those of you, it may liberate, meaning you may free you, for real, if you're ready for this. So we talk about hell and all of that, right? Those of you who preach hell and all that type of stuff, or you talk about, you think, you have to ask yourself, family, what's a lake of fire? Like you're talking about fire on a lake, right? Or I understand it as, you can see a ground covered in fire as a lake, right? But it's, again, conveyed as a lake of fire, right? So now, just the same way, you have to ask yourself, what is a spirit going to need milk and honey for? How is a spirit or a soul going to be drinking milk and honey? Like, what are you going to be that you're going to need, or you're going to be drinking milk and honey, right? Or fire is a tangible thing. Like you can burn yourself now with fire. How can a fire burn a spirit? Right? Something that we can't even, that's not even necessarily tangible. I'm saying it to say that there's clearly different meanings behind these things. There's different meanings behind and deeper understandings behind what is being taught. Obviously. Right? Because God is a spirit. The Bible told you that. We know this. So if you're going to be with God and you're going to be a spirit, what are you going to need milk and honey for? You see what I'm saying? So I'll just throw it out there so you can realize it's factual that your doctrines and your understanding of things, especially if you can't answer that. your understanding of things is more to it. Your understanding of things, right? Or your perception of things, right? Jesus came to set the world on fire. And he said something to the extent that he wished it was already ablaze. Yeah. He said that he wished it was already ablaze, fam. So I want you to know, for those of you who are interested in this whole hell and heaven thing, because remember, God is the one, I don't have a heaven and hell to put nobody in, right? But we all agree that it's supposed to be Most High God, Jesus and his God. God, he was talking about that got the heaven and hell to put people in, right? He came to set the world on fire. Remember when I told y'all what Jesus, what he is, not who he is, right? Nobody's getting in heaven and hell just by saying, I believe he existed. There's no phenomenon, there's no spiritual phenomenon in that. I believe he existed, I'm saved. No, it's about believing in his teachings, the spirit of truth. And when he says set the world on fire, the truth spreads like a fire that cannot be stopped. Yeah, like the word spreads like a fire. Somebody, right now, if you go tell somebody something, it's going to get across 50 more people before the night over with, right? Some situations, you know what I'm talking about. When your word can fly straight across the town because people get on their phones, it can fly across state just like that. The truth and the word of truth, right? The spirit of truth, bringing forth the word of truth and so forth, spreads like a fire. Yes. Right? And it cannot be stopped. Y'all seen them fires, how long it was taking them to put them fires out in California, right? That's a physical thing. But the truth spreads like that. The word or words, information spreads like that, right? So when he talk about come out of her, right? He's telling you to come out of agreement, come out of covenant with the lies and the father of lies. Lest you're going to be burned too. This should be liberating to some of you. Remember, Jesus said, he took the keys back from hell and death. He took the keys back from hell and death, family. See what I'm saying? This is not about what y'all, it's not a ritual thing and all these, place that's going, what it is he's simply freeing you. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. The perishing is a broken spirit, heart. It is a spiritual death. He came to tell you, for one, he's freeing you just by, when he said he took the keys back, the spirit of truth is here to let you know. In other words, that as long as you in the truth, you ain't got no hell to worry about. See, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Jesus came to free the people, to liberate the people, not to throw people in hell. You see how they took this stuff and twisted it? You see how they twisted you from God to a dog? And you so fearful of hell itself. You have not lived, many of us guilty of this, really truly lived a fulfilling life as you could have because of your limited beliefs, because of your fear of a lot of things, including hell, and your understanding of these things. When it says that he took back the keys, now mind you, what we talking about when we talking about the Lord, what he is. I am the way, the truth, and the life. See what I'm saying? So this fire deals with the spreading of truth, which is going to be ablazed, and it is going to be like fire, which it is, because the scriptures also, you can go find it. I don't have it right now, but it talks about speaking fire coming out of his mouth. Yes, talks about fire coming out of the mouth. Truth. How many of you have heard the truth and it burnt you up? Now, this is not merely about pissing people off. This truth is literally burning the system up right now as we speak. Yes. Yeah. That's why they gotta have a new normal and all that. Because it's already burning it down. Yeah. It's a lot more to this, man. Go look at, some of y'all go find, say Donald Trump tweeted, how many of y'all know about the 14th Amendment? He did it in his first term, his first 4 years. It's a lot going on. You talk about the water and the lake and all of that. Told y'all that deals with the Admiralty law, the law of the sea, the maritime law. So when you talk about the good sower sold, then while the worker slept, the evildoer came and sold. That also deals with what was established before, like the law of the land, when it was established before, like God's laws that was established initially before man came in and created all these legalities. Maritime, the law of the sea, created all these legalities to not only undo what was lawful, but to create their own thing. So when I talk about building your house on a rock and not on sand, I spoke about this in the other video. And forgive me, family, sometimes I be rambling out, my mind be so many places at once. I don't be realizing how I be switching my points up sometimes. Because sometimes the way I understand it, I have a hard time explaining it. But we talk about, like, for example, what it means to you're building I kept saying it's a capitalist country. I know that you all know that, but it's a corporation is what I was remiss to say specifically. I probably said it in other videos that I got up, but I mean, it's a corporation. It's one big business, and you have a president of the company. It's like you got a president of the company, you got a president and all that, but it's one big business. So when I was talking about, realizing it's not really built for the happy family setting. You can have a happy family, you can have a home and all these things, but the different systems put in place is for business. That's why you have a license for everything. That's why your marriage goes to court afterwards. It's all business. It's beyond holy matrimony. It's beyond, you know what I'm saying, you do, it's all business to them. And I mean, not just to them, but how it's legally designed systematically. So your home, you wonder why you seeing stuff, you paying for the home 3 times. You pay for a car off the lot. You pay so many different, all this interest, all this different stuff. This stuff is designed for you to do business in a certain way where you make the house pay for itself. You make the car pay for itself. You can write the car. Y'all know all that stuff. So I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just saying it's being burnt down now because it was built on sand. That's my point, family. So when you talk about the Spirit of the Lord coming to set the world on fire, meaning the system, not the earth. The earth can't be burnt up. It can be burned, right? The grass can get burnt. The dirt can, but the earth ain't going nowhere. Life is not going nowhere. But the world, meaning the system, that's the world. He came to set the world on fire. And if you're in the world, you're in agreement with lies, deception, culture, and all these this misconstrued of what life is about, you get burnt up with it. So he say, come out of her, come out of agreement. That should be liberating for many of you who still had that in the back of your mind because you was a Christian or you are a Christian and you wondering, like, or that's your belief system or something like that, and you still got hell in the back of your mind. There's levels to it though, family. Because it is other things going on in different dimensions and spiritual realms, family. But Tell you what Christ came to do was free you, not fear monger. He didn't come to make you think. So you got to know that if the God he's talking about, if he was preaching hell and all that, he was talking about the Father that he was representing and all that, the Creator that he was representing and all that. So you got to know when he's talking about setting the world on fire, you got to know it's the same fire, family. Because remember, he came to do God's work. Remember that? He couldn't just do, he ain't coming to just do it on his own. You didn't think he was just coming to just do it on his own outside of the one he honored. No, that's the fire. Yeah, the truth. But it's bigger than just burning people up on the inside. It is more to it. Because it's this guard your heart, family. Guard your heart. Because you're gonna see a lot of things moving forward. What Tupac said, it's gonna be hard to make you smile sometime. But keep smiling in your heart, keep love in your heart. You know what I'm saying? And know that he the Son sets free is free indeed. For those of you who receive the message. Right? Stay in the truth. In love. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no fire to worry about. So that's it, family, man. I'm gonna go ahead and lay it down. You know, I had to do that sometimes because I'm passionate about this. It's like something I love to do as far as get into this type of thing. It's not just a hobby. It's definitely enjoyable like a hobby. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. And you'll see, family. Trust me, why it's certain things I wouldn't even be putting myself on in the public if I didn't know that the truth is gonna stand behind it eventually. Guarantee, certain things I'm sure about. You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay with trying to get to know this camera and bringing it to the public. Jesus said he's gonna set the world on fire. That is talking about is why you think, man, y'all don't see everything that's happening, every company being sued. Like 40 going north, they suing all these big companies. You see, it's a lot of stuff coming out when it comes to removing the seals. Yeah, it's gonna be some more seals open, rather not removing, opening the seals. Book of Revelation talk about. So, man, family, to the next video, be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. You know what I mean? Peace, positivity, power, and abundance, water.